starting out telling us stories, like Tan told the story there of, it was a backburn story. And there's stories that, especially if you're starting out, if you know that you can take and make your own, like the 3 wishes. It was amazing, like amazing the way she told it. And Tan, the wonderful story there as well. And that Eamon Kelly as well has stories, you know, that any generation can tell. So I'll try an Eamon Kelly story for you if I may. I'm not a young teller, or next or near a young teller. I'm an old lady, but we're still learning, so we are. Ní fósan sé an gawadúf, an gawadúf, an gawadúf. Ní fósan sé an gawadúf, for being sé dúf's a carton. Ní fósan sé an gawadúf, I wouldn't marry a blacksmith. Well, Phaeton, I know of a woman that married a blacksmith. And what's more, she came all the way home from America to marry him. Well, now, there was no great out-and-out love between them. She'd a memory of him before she went to America, and he'd a bit of a memory of her. It was a made match, and they made history. Because wasn't they the first couple from this part of the world to ever go away on a honeymoon? And it was down to Killarney they went, and when they got off the train below in Killarney, she was kind of nervous, and she looking around, and she said, did they know we're fresh from the altar? Is there anything we could do to make it look like we're a few years married? There is, of course, she said. Catch a hold there of your case and walk on ahead of us. Well, she was full of airs and graces. She was used to the good life in America, where she was a lady's companion, wintering it in New York and summering it in Spring Falls. Or she was full of airs and graces, which she tried to transfer to the blacksmith. His speech was putrid, always saying things like fots and fie and fitches and fairs, my woman. And his grammar was putrid, always saying things like he have or she have. Well, she gave him such a drilling about he have and she have, that in the end, the blacksmith thought have was a word that should not be used in front of the children. Well, there was a station published for the blacksmith that year. And, you know, you're sure the blacksmith didn't care whether he had a station or not. But it was her chance to show off her newly renovated house. Because when she came back from the honeymoon, the settled bed got the quick shift out the door. She renovated the place inside and out, pushing a monkey tree here and a monkey tree there. And cement patch, concrete patch, they weren't heard of at the time, all around the house, and a big steep one all the way down to the wicket gate. Oh, she was used to things good, and she couldn't have an important occasion like the station to be ruined by her husband's bad manners or bad grammar. So training was to be the answer. So the blacksmith used to hate to see the sun going down in the evening, because it meant home to night school. He'd have to get out of his old duds that were black from the forge and get into his conversation clothes. And she'd show him different items of cutlery, you know, tongs for the lump sugar, different glassware to use, because being the man of the house, he would have to have his breakfast in the parlour with the PP the morning of the station. And she told him to have his manners and sort out the seat under the PP when he'd sit down, and not to pull it and let him end on the ground. Oh no, she said, have your manners, and take the spoon out of your cup and not have it going into your eye when you would be talking to the parish priest. And use your serviette and not having drips of tea falling from your moustache when you're talking to him. And no coarse conversation at the table, she said. Don't be saying things like, excuse me, dear father, the butter is hairy, the dog and the cat, they slept on the dairy. None of that, she said. Everything up to the knocker. Well, one of his jobs as well to do the morning of the station would be go down to the gate to welcome the PP off the sidecar. And of course, she put him through his paces there as well. He had to stand there showing no agitation and say, extend his hand and say, fall already? We won't feel it now till Christmas. Fall already? Look around him, give a bit of a laugh. We won't feel it now till Christmas. Well, she put him through his paces. Well, my poor man, he didn't want to say fall already. 'Tis not a term that was used locally, but she told him 'twas the in thing, that fall was the proper term that was used to describe the autumnal part of the year. That's now if we were to believe her. Well, when he'd be trying to get used to the word, turning his around inside in his head, he could be below in the forge, and the forge would be black with people. He'd raise his head from the anvil and he'd say, fall already. Fall already. Fall already. Until the people thought he was going out of his nut totally. Well, the night before the station came, and everything was done up to the knockers, and they went for the final countdown. He washed all the concrete paths all around the house, and he sloshed bucket after bucket after bucket of water on top of him. Well, the place was shining, and then he went for his final rehearsal. He stood at the gate, showing no agitation. He extended his hand and he said, good morning, dear father. Then went back in his heels. Fall already, we won't feel it now till Christmas. And feeling very proud of himself, up he goes to the house, and himself and herself hitch away to bed. Well, now, whatever happened that night, whether 'twas so the cock didn't crow, they were hurriedly down the kitchen the following morning, when whatever look they gave out the window, there was the parish priest getting off the sidecar. Well, the blacksmith, as quick as he could, he shoved his two legs into his shoes, he pulled up his galluses, buttoned himself up and made a dash out the door. But what was it? Wasn't there a fierce fall of frost the night before? And a concrete patch can be an awful slippery place with frost. Well, the 2 minutes his two legs hit the concrete patch, he went skeeting down on his backside, and he skeeted all the way down to the wicket gate. And still from a sitting position with the PP overhead, he said, good father, dear morning, what a day you came. I've a pain in me ass from the fall. I'll feel it now till Christmas. Well, that is Eamon Kelly's story, and the way the best laid plans of mice and men can go astray. So I